dick pic.
Had to step by AutoZone to get some fuel treatment, because even motorcycles can use a little fuel treatment now and again. Know what I mean? Probably gonna be some traffic involved in this video, but it is what it is. Know what I mean? So usually I try to make all of my Navy videos, I'm gonna be a dick here, you know, chipper and happy, and I don't really like to talk about the negative side of it, or, you know, the stuff that I guess civilians don't always hear about, I guess is a way to say it. I'm not trying to be condescending. I am one of those guys who's like, the civilian is just another dude to me. I'm not above you or anything like that, but there are sides that civilians don't know about, and I've kind of made this video-ish now and again. I always end up deleting it because it's like, you know. But what I'll be covering here is mainly it's gonna be DEEPression. Like I made that a pun because I'm on a submarine. DEEPression, you know. But I could easily start off this video, you know, with something a lot of people see, everybody knows about, and everybody sees all the time, and everybody loves it. And that is like when we get back from patrol, or if a soldier gets back from downrange, or a Marine gets back, or so on and so forth. You know, all the other branches and everything that they do. And they get back and they step off that bus, or, you know, they step out of the truck in front of their house, and their family runs out, and there's a dog that's like losing its shit. Oh my God, master's home, and all that kind of stuff. You know, and that's great. I love seeing that stuff too. But for, I would say, every one of those videos you see, there's probably, I don't want to fuck my numbers up, there's probably, I'll lowball, I'll say 2 or 3 guys that don't get that. There's like 2 or 3 guys that when we step off the bus, you know, we get to watch other people's families run up to them and hug them and scream and cry and, you know, all this stuff. And while it's still nice to see, you know, you're happy for your friend, at the same time, you know, you just feel alone. It's like, you're happy to be back, but it's like that last stab of depression. I just stalled my bike. Ha! Stab of depression that you get after the underway. See, I'm kind of distracted. My bad there. You guys want to give me shit in the comments, it's cool, but I almost just rear-endered that fucking truck. Quick stop practice, do it. But yeah, like when we got back, you know, my buddy was standing right next to me, and his family just ran up to him, and they were so happy to see him, and like right to the left, my other buddy's wife like ran up, started crying, and threw herself at him, and I'm just standing there holding these 2 bags. You know, I'm holding my sea bag and my backpack, like, well, I'm gonna go to my room alone now, you know. And it's, you know, my buddy, his wife was like, oh, you should come with us, you know, but it feels so weird, or at least for me, you know, it feels weird. Like, you know, that's their time. He gets to go, you know, with his family, and that's their time to welcome him back and him to adjust that way, you know. And that's just like the easiest example I could bring up is that, you know, it's like, it's depressing to see it, but that specific example, you know, you get over that fast. I was joking with the guys the next day. I was like, hey man, you know, next time we get back, you need to have a chat with your wife, and, you know, she needs to cut out the waterworks a little bit. And he was laughing. He's like, oh yeah, dude, I'll go talk to her about it. But yeah, and you know, that rolls into what happens before the underway. Now, this is all going to be third-person hypothetical, all right? Because I'm not going to tap out. You know, I'm not quitting, stuff like that. But it's really easy to get sucked into depression when you're underway, especially on a submarine. I'm saying especially because it's all I know. I mean, I'm not some Marine getting shot at, you know, downrange and in Iraq or wherever they are right now. I'm not a soldier out there, you know, scouting for IEDs and stuff. I'm not out there. Submarines is all I know, and I've only been on 1 patrol. And the reason I say it's easy to get sucked into it is because it's biological. on my type of submarine, when we go underwater, when we dive, that is it. We don't see the sun again until we come back. You know, we don't get to feel wind, we don't get to, you know, we don't get any of that. And the reason I say it's biological is because of seasonal affective disorder. And what that is, you can Google that, I'm not making it up. That is that when you don't get sunlight for a certain amount of time, like vitamin D, I guess, you start to get depressed. You start to lose energy. You start to drag. And you think we would have some kind of UV lights or some shit on the boat to simulate it, but we don't. We don't have any of that. We do have oxygen that we can, like, you can pump up the oxygen to like higher percentages. That makes you wired, but it doesn't fix, you know, feeling sad. So, you know, after a couple of weeks, you start feeling that a little bit, and hopefully, you know, you're sticking with your buddies, you know, laughing, having a good time as much as you can. But even with that, you know, you're working every day. There's no days off. There's literally no days off. You're gonna go watch, stand a watch, clean something, run a drill, something. So, you know, try to imagine working 8-hour shifts. 8 hours of working, 8 hours of cleaning, of learning more, 8 hours of hopefully sleeping. You're not going to get 8 hours of sleep. That's wishful thinking. And then, you know, you just get to start over and you get to work again, you know. And sometimes you don't get to hear from your family for months. Ours was like, the most we had was weeks. I think we went like a solid month without actually hearing from anybody, or at least I did. And that happens, you know, you try to send emails and it doesn't always get out. And you don't always get stuff back, or something happens where we can't get it back because it'll give away our position or something, you know. Something along that line. Look, 2 cruisers didn't fucking wave at me. 1 R1 waved. What the fuck? Anyway, so you know, it's just, you get wrapped up in work, and then, like, let's say you left home and you had a fight with your wife or something, and, like, you know, the last thing she says to you is like, well, fuck you, or something like that. You know, probably something more evil than that. No offense, but knowing women, she might take a good shot at you, and that's the last thing you get to think about before you leave her for months at a time. And there was a guy like that. He got sucked into that, and the smile on his face where he finally got an email from her and she was happy to hear from him and everything was, you know, he was beaming all fucking day. He was just But, you know, not everybody gets that either. You know, you might not hear from her, and you might come back and she's cheated on you something. Get a Dear John letter. Some guy did get a Dear John letter while we were underway. Hypothetically. And it really, it starts to take a toll on you, and if you don't reach out in some way, because nobody's going to come out and say, I'm feeling depressed, because that will get you kicked out. I mean, that's the same as tapping. And if you don't know what I mean when I'm saying tapping, is in the submarine force, you are allowed to do what's called tapping out. You're allowed to say that you can't handle it, and you need to either go to a different command, or they need to reevaluate your position in the Navy completely. And hypothetically, we had a couple of guys do that on the underway. And, you know, it's disheartening to the rest of the group, you know, because it's like, if that could happen to him. You know, one of the guys was a new guy, and one of the guys was like, this was his last time going out, and he was going to be out of the Navy, and he couldn't finish the patrol. So, you know, you have the two extremes. You have the new guy who's like, you know, he's just getting into it, maybe he can't handle it, and then you have the guy who's been here for years that just, you know, he's like, fuck this, you know. And how many times have I said, you know, in the last 5 minutes? But it's something to consider in the military. Like I said, I always try to keep my videos, you know, chipper and happy, and, you know, we get to do this, we get to do that. You know, we do. But that's like the price you pay, is you lose a lot. Some dude lost seeing his child's first steps, I believe. If it was their first steps. Yeah, dude, 'cause this is my fault, right? And another one lost seeing, you know, being there for the birth, and so on and so forth. You know, you miss a lot. We were gone for Christmas and New Year's. For me, I missed my older sister's birthday, my younger sister's birthday, my mom's birthday, my other older sister's birthday, Christmas, Easter, New Year's, and I don't know, some other stuff probably. St. Patrick's Day was the one that got me the most. I was kind of butt mad about that. I wanted to drink my goddamn green, you know, sour apple beer. I was really looking forward to that, and I didn't get it. I was sad. But yeah. And I'll be honest, it hypothetically hit this sailor that I know very well as well. You know, he started not wanting to get up when he you just randomly wake up in bed at home. Like, he didn't want to get up. You know, he had to convince himself to get up. He had to convince himself to stop saying things in his head, which I'm not going to repeat in the video what was being said in his head and whatnot. And you go through phases, and maybe, you know, it's just a bad underway for you, or your week sucked, you know, the chief keeps yelling at me, or something like that, you know, something happens that just fucks up your week. Look at all this traffic, man. Maybe I shouldn't have came this way. And it's just something you deal with. I should probably turn left here and be a dick and filter. What do you guys think? Filter? Filtration device engaged. Yeah, fuck this. So yeah, it's just something you learn to deal with, or you don't learn to deal with, and you get the fuck out of submarines. Jesus! And that tends to be how it goes. But it's extremely, not to beat a dead horse, it's extremely important to reach out. Even for the guys that quit, that call it quits, they reached out before they did something to themselves, because, like I said, some people had to convince themselves to stop saying things in their head, and some people were hearing voices that weren't theirs in their head telling them to do things, and definitely took that to leadership before he let it get to him. I mean, he let it get to him, but before he let him do something? I don't know what I'm trying to say there. So yeah, while I'm trying to keep most of my videos happy and chipper and stuff when involving the Navy, there is, you know, always that dark side that you don't really hear about until you're there. That can't be explained to you until you get there. So, you know, with all the happy-go-lucky people you see making their videos about boot camp and, oh, I'm so excited and I've been in the Navy for blah, blah, blah. You know, that's their rate, and I'm glad that it happened that way for them. But if you just so happen to be crazy enough to want to go into submarines, you know, be ready for some shit. In the Navy anyway, you know, I'm not downing the Marines or anybody like that. I don't go and get shot at directly. We do, you know, I'm not saying we don't worry about dying, because if you do the research, the submarine will kill you faster than anybody else. I think total ships lost may be due to internal problems and the submarine killing us rather than the Germans or the Japanese or whoever. Except in World War II, that was a motherfucker. Fun fact, for those who don't know that, in World War II, the service that suffered the most losses per capita was submarines. It was a 1 for 3 death rate. So 1 out of every 3 submariners, whatever you want to say, died for one reason or another. Either like a U-boat got us, or something like that, you know. And we haven't really lost any since then. I mean, there was a Thresher, the Scorpion. San Francisco had a mishap. But other than that, those have been pretty widespread apart. So you guys, not to be a downer, Debbie Downer or anything, just to get the message across. You know, even people in the military aren't completely made out of iron. Even we start to feel depressed, and we need to reach out. So, you know, if it comes to that, and you're starting to feel like you're alone, make sure you try reaching out to people first. And don't reach out to that douchebag that always gives you shit, and then you think, oh fuck, I was right, I am alone. Because that person's a douchebag. They're gonna stay a douchebag. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, guys? You know what I mean. So yeah, I don't really know if I could say. If you have any questions, to leave them in the comments, because, you know, I guess if you do have questions about submarines, that's always up. Nobody's asked me any questions. Fuck you guys. But if you have any questions at all, go ahead and leave them in the comments or send me a message or something. I'll get back to you.